Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Moses Kuria has resigned. That was confirmed in a post that he shared on his X handle. And I believe majority of you have gone through that posting. It has been shared widely by many people. But there's something that Moses Kuria also shared.
So, there's some people who are doing exams, who are doing practice for a football match that will not happen. There will not be that kind of content. There's not going to be an election in 2027 for presidential.
Say that again.
Yes.
Moses Kuria, before resigning, shared a posting which I think he could have deleted later on. And he said, there will be no elections in 2027. Let that sink in. Kuria declared, then resigned. So this is a very, very shocking claim coming from Moses Kuria, and I want us to look at the matter. Why is Moses Kuria telling us that there will be no election? If you choose to ignore Moses Kuria's words, then hiyo ni shauri yako. Remember that time when Uhuru Kenyatta's or rather the Kenyatta family's farm was attacked, Moses Kuria tweeted and deleted a tweet. It is not the first time. There have been several times where Moses Kuria shares a statement, then deletes it. He normally uses X. So, no elections in 2027. So, I'd like us to look at this matter extensively. Why is Moses Kuria telling us that? What does he know that Kenyans don't know? Is RUTO going to hand over the government to the military? What is going to happen? Is he going to make sure that the IEBC constitution is delayed further, assuming the courts decide to stop it, stop the swearing in? What is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? So before we explore this story further with many questions lingering in my mind, please support the work of this channel by liking this video to enable you to share the video to many people. Subscribe to our channel if you had not subscribed before, and to our existing subscribers, thank you so much for your support. The first thing that lingers in my mind is, because Kuria has told us that there will be no election, is will RUTO hand over power to military? People have been talking about that possibility. There's a time Martha Karua shared something which I think many of you did not pay attention to, but I paid attention to the statement from Martha Karua, because Martha Karua said RUTO can declare a state of emergency. When you declare a state of emergency, unajua hapo military is involved, na hapo election hakuna. What if he does that? Because Moses Kuria is an insider. There was a time, the reason why I don't want to ignore Moses Kuria's word is that there was a time and RUTO had gone to Nyeri, and Rigathi Gachagua chose to skip that meeting, and Rigathi was still a deputy president, so he went to Embu, for another meeting. Normally, when RUTO goes to Mount Kenya, he would occasionally be received by Rigathi, but Rigathi chose to skip that church gathering and went to another one. Then Moses Kuria tweeted, and when in that tweet he shared a seat that was empty, and he said that is the last time this is happening. See, what happened later on is that an impeachment was launched, and ndio hivyo mpaka Rigathi Gachagua akatolewa. So I'm not trying to ignore, I can't ignore Moses Kuria's words, and I think you will not also ignore the words after discovering that there are possibilities to what Moses Kuria is saying. Now, if it's not handing over to the military, let's look at the IEBC commissioners. He appointed the IEBC commissioners, but the courts stopped. If the courts, after looking at this matter extensively, realizes that there was a mistake during the grilling or during the vetting of the commissioners, the courts might decide that this whole exercise start afresh. That would mean, again, the whole process means even the IEBC selection panel. Now, we are in 2025, and elections are only like a year away. So if the courts decide to put brakes to this matter, it would mean there would be another delay until 2026 labda hapo. So 2026 hapo ndo waanze process ya kutafuta commissioners tena. Ichukue ule muda ambao ulichukua miezi hiyo, ipitie bunge, imalizike kitu mwezi wa 8. Remember, mwezi wa 8 na election is 2027. How is that going to be possible? So when Moses Kuria says no election, don't try to ignore that communication from Moses Kuria. It's a very, very important one. It's a direct statement to the people. Now, if that is not the case, let us focus on rigging claims. You know, elections can take place in your minds, muone kama ni elections, but behind the scene, hakuna election inafanyika, ni rigging. Decision has been made. So you campaign, invest a lot of money on the campaigns, lakini decision had been made. It's just akin to what happened in 2007. People campaigned, Raila campaigned. Raila with RUTO and was with other leaders. They campaigned. But what happened? The decision had been made. The other side was Kibaki, Martha Karua, you know, and the team. You know what happened? Election was stolen. A decision had been made. So it's like there was no election there. Let us look at you know, these are possibilities. We're just looking at the possibilities because Kuria has told us that hakutakuwa na election. You know, the president has powers. The constitution says, of course, August, but the president has powers of dissolving the parliament. What if he chooses not to dissolve the parliament because of instability, political instability, because peace is not being experienced, because we can't go to the elections kama kuna chaos? Hapo inamaanisha kwamba itabidi kwanza mpaka kuwe na calm ndio twende kwa election. RUTO anaweza pata in 2027 kimeumana kabisa, hii pressure imemlemea, akasema Kariri, chukua uongozi, mimi nimejitoa. That one time ambao mnasema iwe iko actualized, so amejitoa. So what happens when the army comes on board? And we were told by Musalia Mudavadi, when the army comes on board, wajua constitution itabidi iwe suspended. Hiyo mambo ya haki yetu kwenda kuandamana itaekwa kando. Jeshi itakuwa kwa streets, kila mahali ni jeshi tu ndio iko kwa streets. And unajua watu wacheki na watu. You see, if that is to happen, jeshi itaamua ile siku election itafanyika. Watasema kwamba saizi serikali wamechukua na uongozi ni under jeshi. Sasa hakuna kuandamana, hakuna ile right, hakuna zile civil right, hakuna nini, ni jeshi. In Africa, Niger, Burkina Faso, Chad, I think, there are countries in Africa that are under military rule. Some are doing well, some are not doing well. Now, for instance, Burkina Faso, people say that Burkina Faso is doing well ever since Traore took over the leadership of the country. But elections have not been held. Elections were supposed to be held, then he postponed it. He postponed again. But you can't tell him anything. He is actually the alpha and omega in Burkina Faso. We all remember the issue of Gabon, you know. Also a similar issue, military rule now. So what is happening, ladies and gentlemen, here is that Kuria's statement, mimi kivyangu, I'm not a legal expert, lakini mimi kivyangu, the statement is dangerous and it undermines public trust in constitutional government, yes, and emboldens those who will seek to erode Kenya's democratic gains. I'm not a legal expert, but I concur with a statement that came from the civil society, which says such a statement is dangerous. It undermines public trust in constitutional governance and emboldens those who would seek to erode Kenya's democratic gains. I concur with that statement. So the bottom line here, ladies and gentlemen, is that despite Moses Kuria's provocative assertions, the Kenyan constitution remains clear general election must be held every 5 years, and any deviation from this schedule would require a constitutional amendment via referendum, not political declarations. So Kuria may be trying to rally a particular base or push a controversial narrative. The rule of law remains the foundation of Kenya's democracy, and any attempt to tamper with election timelines without due process is likely to face fierce resistance from both the courts and the public. So, should we take Moses Kuria's statements seriously, or should we ignore? Which side are you on, ladies and gentlemen? So perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.